Hello children, Form 4. Today we are learning reading skills, the use of language. Please turn to page 16 in your textbook. The objectives of this lesson are identifying the main parts of speech or word classes, explore and develop your interpretation of language through connotations, identify main sentence types, control and vary sentence structure for effect in your writing. First, let's look at parts of speech and its uses. They are in your textbook, page 16. So, words may be divided into groups called parts of speech. Words are classified as one of 9 parts of speech. All 9 of them are listed in this slide and they are also listed in your book. A verb is a word that describes actions. Noun is a word that represents a person, place, object or quality. Pronoun is a word that is used instead of a noun. For example, he, she, it, they. Adjectives are words that describe a noun or pronoun. For example, if your noun is a rose, your adjective could be a red rose. If your noun is girl, your adjective could be pretty girl. Adverb is a word that describes a verb or an adjective. A verb or an adjective. So if your verb is running, your adverb could be running fast. Or if your verb is talking, your adverb could be talking softly. Prepositions are words that is used before a noun or pronoun to show time, place or direction. So, on, behind, before, below, under, on top of, in, out are all prepositions. Conjunction is a word that joins parts of a sentence. Words like and, so are conjunctions. The boy was fast and he was winning the race. Interjection, a word used to express strong feelings. Determiner is a word that is used before a noun in order to show which thing is being referred to. This is the book that I was reading before. Right, children? Now let's look at this sentence. I tried to put in almost as much parts of speech as I could possibly put into one sentence. So let's look at it. The happy lady was laughing loudly and looking at them. The happy lady was laughing loudly and looking at them. Right? So, who's the noun? The noun is the person who's doing the action. So, what's the noun? Who's doing the action? The lady. The lady. What sort of a lady is it? It's a happy lady. A happy lady. So your adjective is happy and your noun is lady. Right. Next, what is the verb? The action that is being done. Laughing. Laughing is your verb. What is your adverb? How is laughing described? Loudly. Laughing loudly. The next word and is a conjunction. It's forming two parts of the sentence. Now let's look at the preposition showing purpose or direction. At. And your pronoun once again is them. Them. The happy lady was laughing loudly and looking at them. I hope you understood parts of speech. Let's now look at the first activity on your book, page 17. Right? Identifying parts of the speech. In the following sentences, circle the adjectives, tick the nouns and underline the verbs. Right? So because I can't do circling, ticking and underlining, I'm going to use 3 different colors to show y'all what the words are. I am going to do this activity with y'all because it's very important that you understand the basics of this lesson for us to move forward in the lesson. Right? So the first one, I tripped over the uneven floor. I tripped over the uneven floor. Who is doing the action? I. I is the noun. Over what did I trip? The floor. Floor is also a noun. Now let's look at the adjectives. What type of a floor was it? It was an uneven floor. Uneven floor. What's the verb? The action that happened was tripped. I tripped. So I tripped over the uneven floor. Second one. The silly boy crashed his new bike. The silly boy crashed his new bike. So how many nouns are there once again? There are 2 nouns. The boy and the bike. Boy, bike are nouns. What is the adjective? 2 adjectives once again. Silly and new. Silly and new. And the action was crashed. The action is crashed. Right? Now I'm sure you all know how to do this. This is the basics of English that we've studied in our younger years as well. Right? Third one. When the old lady reached her house, she sat down. So what are the nouns? Lady, house are nouns. Right? And the adjectives, old is the adjective. What is the verb? Reached and sat. Reached and sat. Number 4. We saw wild horses at the forest. We is a noun, horses is a noun, and forest is a noun. So 3 nouns in this sentence. Wild horses would be, wild is your adjective and saw is your verb. Can you do the last 2 last sentences as well? Fifth one. The large crowd cheered as the skillful player scored. Large crowd. So that is your adjective and your noun. Cheered is your verb. As the skillful player. Skillful player is once again adjective noun. Scored is your verb. So we have 2 pairs of all types of verbs. Right? Large crowd, cheered, skillful player, scored. Right? Giggling girls annoyed the teacher. Giggling girls. Giggling girls, adjective noun, annoyed, once again the verb, and teacher is the noun. Giggling girls is also an adjective. It's an adjective as well as it's a verb. So it's actually an adverb. Adverb. Giggle is an action. Giggling is an adjective used to describe a verb. So it's an adverb. A prickly hedgehog snuffed in the dry leaves. Prickly hedgehog, adjective and noun. Snuffled, your verb. Dry leaves, adjective noun. The lazy man was sleeping under the tall tree. Lazy man is adjective noun. Sleeping is your verb. And tall tree is your adjective noun once again. So under, can anyone tell me what under is? Under is your preposition. Under is your preposition, right? We are not asked to mark our prepositions, so we are not going to mark them. Proper nouns. Proper nouns are nouns that name particular things, right? And they always start with capital letters. Very important, especially in your essay writing for the exam. Very important to start these words with capital letters. So what are these words? Names of people, places, days of the week, months of the year, brand names, company names, and titles of films or books are all proper nouns, right? For example, Yara is a name of a person, Colombo is a city, France is a country, Thursday is a day of the week, September is a month of the year, Google is a brand name, Ford is a company name, Avatar is a title of film, and you all know enough and more books for me to write it here, right? So all of those things have to begin with capital letters. Very important. Prepositions. Prepositions tell you the position of an object in relation to another. So look at these examples that teacher has written, right? The cat is sleeping on the chair. The cat is sleeping on the chair. My dog sleeps near our bed. The book was hidden under the blanket. The boy jumped over the fence. Right? So let's look at the activity 2 on page 17, and it's very easy. You just have to write the suitable word in the gap and fill in the blanks. You can do this on your own, right? So the next part of our lesson is connotations. Connotations. Connotations refers to what a certain word or an image provoke in our minds. The words, these are the associations or ideas that a particular word or image suggests to a reader, right? Let's look at the first picture. What reminds you? Have you seen this picture before anywhere? I'm sure you would have seen it especially at Keel's car park. You would have seen this, right? What is it for? It's a man in a wheelchair, right? It's a man in a wheelchair. So that means this area is for disabled people or differently abled people, right? Second picture. The second picture is a where have you seen this? Second picture shows that there is a canteen or a restaurant available nearby, right? It's an eating place. Third one, I'm sure you've seen this. This means that there is a fueling station close by. Fourth one, it's a restroom, public restroom. So that means that there are washrooms. So even that image, you can say two characters, right? They won't name it male, female. They just show two images, one of a person wearing a dress and another one without a dress, and we presume that the first one is ladies washroom, second one is gents washroom, right? The last picture, have you all seen the last picture? The last picture says that this is recyclable. Recyclable. You all know what recycling is? So this is the image for recycling, right? So I'm sure you can do the activities on page 1, 2 and 3. Very easy activities. All you can do, you just have to read it and you can do it on your own. Now let's look at different sentence types, right? A sentence is a group of words that make sense on their own. It is a basic component of communication. That's very true. Everything we say is made up of sentences. When you break up sentences, you see that they are made of different words. When you put words together and if it makes sense, it becomes a sentence, right? And at the end of a sentence, we see a full stop or a period mark. Right. Clumsy sentence structure leads to writing that is grammatically incorrect. Very true. We know this because we write essays for our exam and we don't read again what we have written and we lose marks because it's grammatically incorrect. Poor sentence structure will also prevent your ideas flowing in a coherent and logical way and make it much more difficult for the reader to understand what you are trying to convey. Right? Very true once again. When your sentence structure is not properly organized and your ideas are not flowingly written down, right? Clearly written down, your reader can't understand what you're trying to say, right? A writer's use of sentence structure often helps to convey meaning in a text. It's also right. It helps to create meaning. It is important to be able to identify and comment on this in the reading sections of the exam. Okay, that is your comprehension part of the exam where you're given a passage that you have to read and understand and write the answers for. Very important. So let's look at the example. The first part, friend, car, France, holiday. They are all just words and they don't really make any sense. It's not a sentence, right? But if I say, I am driving my friend to France for a holiday. Now I'm using those four words and I'm making a sentence. I am driving my friend to France for a holiday. Now that is a sentence. So types of sentences. First is a declarative sentence. You declare something which conveys information. My car is red. My dress is blue. My pants are grey. An interrogative is a question. You ask for information. Does it go fast? Did you eat? What day is it today? All interrogative sentences, or rather we call them questions. Imperatives. Imperatives are commands that tell you to do something. Get in, get out, keep quiet, don't talk, eat are all commands. People telling you to do things. Exclamation shows that someone is feeling strongly about something. It's great. Oh no. Oh wow. Yippee! Those are all exclamations, right? So there's a very simple matching exercise to be done on page 20, activity 1 for you. Simple sentence equals a clause. So a simple sentence, another word for a simple sentence is a clause, right? This is mostly just 2 or 3 words, mostly 4 words that are put together but they form a sentence, right? So a clause is a group of words that forms a part of a sentence. And a clause is made up of a subject, verb and object, right? So, for example, the boy ate the chocolate. The boy ate the chocolate. Your subject would be the boy. The boy, right? Who's doing it? The boy is doing it. What is the boy doing? Is your verb. Eating. The boy is eating. What is he eating? Your object. The boy is eating the chocolate. So, do you understand? Subject, verb, object together forms a basic or a simple sentence, also called a clause. The subject identifies the topic of a clause, or in other words, what it is about. My hockey teacher and his dog go running every morning. My hockey teacher and his dog go running every morning. The first part, who's doing it? Who's doing the action is your subject, right? My hockey teacher and his dog. Verb. Verb identifies the action of a clause, or in other words, what happens. Her boyfriend gave her a bunch of flowers. Gave her is the action. Your object identifies who or what is directly affected by the action. It's always a noun or a pronoun. So, after work, David usually walks home. Work is a noun, and what happens. This is not the main part of the sentence. This is not the who or the what or the action. This is the rest of the sentence that forms the object, right? So when you want to know what is the subject, the hint is first isolate the verb and then make a question by placing who or what. So in the first one, who goes running every morning? My hockey teacher and his dog. In the second example, who gave her a bunch of flowers? Her boyfriend gave her a bunch of flowers. David usually, what does David usually do? He walks home. He walks home. When does David walk home? After work. After work. Your object, right? Other parts are a complement. The complement gives extra information about the subject or object. So once again, the previous example. Earlier it said her boyfriend gave her a bunch of branch of flowers, right? So here to give complement, I've written her handsome boyfriend gave her a lovely bunch of flowers. Her handsome boyfriend gave her a lovely bunch of flowers. This gives more information about the subject or the object. The adverbial gives additional information about the situation, the when, where and how it happened. So look at this. Now teacher has rewritten the sentence again with adverbials. Last evening, her handsome boyfriend gave her a lovely bunch of flowers at the park. See, can you see how information is added by parts of sentences? Right? This is how information is added into your simple clause or a simple sentence. So, other types of sentences are simple sentences, which we looked at before. Compound sentences consist of two simple sentences joined together by a conjunction, right? It was raining, I put up my umbrella. It was raining, so I put up my umbrella. I was hungry, I ate a bun. I was hungry, so I ate a bun. What else? What else can we say? I was walking down the lane. My sister was walking down the lane. My sister and I were walking down the lane. There the conjunction is and. You form a sentence by adding two other sentences. Subordinate clauses are often present in a sentence. They are called subordinates because they are second to the main action, right? So, after his dad gave him some pocket money, Andrew went to the cinema. What is the main sentence? Andrew went to the cinema. That can stand on its own as a simple sentence. Andrew went to the cinema. But the information giving part, the part that gives information, is called the subordinate clause, right? It cannot stand on its own, right? After his dad gave him some pocket money only, Andrew went to cinema. But Andrew went to cinema can be a sentence on its own. The other part or the subordinate clause cannot stand as an own sentence. Fourth one, a complex sentence contains main sentences or one or more subordinate clauses. That means it's a combination of what we have studied earlier, right? This means complex sentences are longer. Sentences for effect, right? So your book gives this new word called Eddingly openers for varying sentence starters for impact, right? Eddingly openers consist of words ending in ed, which is verbs, ing, verbs again, and ly, adverbs. See, can you see how Eddingly is made? E-D, I-N-G, L-Y. Ed and ing for verbs and ly for adverbs, right? So let's just look at this. You'll understand it better if you look at this. How could you change these sentences using this technique? Now these are the sentences that were given in your book and I have added the things that are highlighted. I walked through the dark valley and suddenly a hand reached out and grabbed my shoulder. That was the sentence in your book. Teacher put, I walked softly through the dark alley and suddenly a hand reached out and grabbed my shoulder. Can you see how a comma and an exclamation mark and a verb and an adverb, an ly verb is giving so much more information and effect to your sentence, right? I was breathing deeply as I crept through the deep, dark wood. See, can you see how a simple comma can give so much meaning to a sentence? I was breathing deeply as I crept through the deep, dark wood. Third one, I was trapped and could not see a way out with a full stop is what your book gives. Teacher has put, instead of a full stop, teacher put an exclamation mark. I was trapped and could not see a way out. Can you see how much effect it gives? Right? So these are very important for you to know when you're writing your essay, especially when you have to write a story, a life experience. Right? I'm sure you all will understand this, read this lesson again, go through this lesson again and know and use this for your exams. Right, children? So, activity 1, 2 and 3 is very easy once again. Right? You just have to add these little Eddingly openers and make it more suspenseful. Right? I'm sure you can do this all alone because this is a very easy exercise. Right, children? So I hope you all understood today's lesson. It was on use of language. Right, children? Thank you very much for listening.